Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of From the Heart. I'm your host, Chloe Trca, and this is a podcast where we talk all things on my heart in the real time, in the real moment. I essentially take everything I learned from the week before and put it into a podcast and teach you guys through my own experiences. I'm really excited about this episode because this was requested by you guys. I think this could be very helpful because who doesn't need 15 habits that have helped me improve my life as a 20-some-year-old girl? I went on a walk this morning and I really brainstormed everything that I've changed in my life over the past 6 months, a year, even some more recent, that I've truly seen such a significant change. And I'm really excited to share them with you guys because I hope you can implement them into your life and improve your life as well and feel better and move better and just have more joy in your life. So I'm just going to get right into this because this could be a longer episode. I'm not really sure. There is 15. I was going to do 5 and then I was like, no, I have 10. And then when I had 10, I was like, no, I have 5 more. So there's 15. Some are big, some are more simple. So we're just going to jump right on in. There's no particular order to this, except for the first one, definitely probably the most important. So we're just going to get into that one first. And that is learning to eat whole foods. I always say food is medicine, food is fuel. And I really want you guys to understand that you should want to put in the highest quality fuel into your body. If you think of it like gas in the tank, if you want, you probably prefer to put premium gas in your car. So why wouldn't you want to put premium food into your body? One of my friends was talking to me and she was like, it's really crazy how tiny, and this is different because this is literally medicine, but how tiny a little piece of Advil is and a pill and how much impact that has on your body. Can relieve headaches, body soreness, takes away a lot of pain. So think about the mass amount of food we're putting into our body and how much of an impact that can make. And let me tell you, I am experiencing this firsthand. I have recently incorporated whole foods into my diet, mainly whole foods. I really don't veer off too much except for maybe a protein powder, and I'm using You Can Beam, or I guess they rebranded to Be Amazing. But they have really good ingredients. They have a protein that's natural vanilla and it's coconut oil in there and it has organic monk fruit as a sweetener, and it's just much better for you ingredients. I don't eat it every day. But when I want a creamy or I want to make something with a protein powder, I'm not going to restrain myself from that, or restrict myself from that. But you guys, I've talked about this probably a little bit in every episode the last couple weeks because that's a recent change I've made. But my energy level, right now I'm in the thick of my luteal phase, and usually I'm ugh, I can't even function. I don't even bother going for a walk, and it's just so much harder to do everything. And I'm much more fatigued, and I definitely am more tired still. I think that's just part of your hormones changing. But with this new way of eating whole foods, I feel so much better. My luteal phase, I feel I can give a 35% most days, and now I feel I'm at a good 60. I'm not fully there. Once I start my cycle, I feel a lot better, but it's crazy because I'm noticing a change in this time as well. And I'm you know what? If anything can help me through my luteal phase, I'm going to do it. But it also helps me in every other phase of my life as well. It's not just my luteal phase, obviously. But you guys, it has made such an impact on my sleep, on my energy, on my mood, on my inflammation, on everything. And my digestion's a lot better. The only con is that I'm more sensitive and maybe a little hypersensitive to the way my body digests certain foods, because if I do try something that isn't necessarily a whole food, or something that maybe can irritate your gut a little more, I definitely have noticed it. I sadly don't think I can do almond butter because it just messes up my stomach. But I didn't realize I've been eating almond butter my entire life. I ate it a lot, and I don't think I realized how upset it made my stomach because my stomach was just always a little upset. And so now that it's good, chill, calm, cool, collected, I really notice when it kind of isn't feeling normal. But it's honestly just a trial and error thing. I incorporate some foods, and if it works, then I continue. And if it doesn't, then I just move on and find something else. And typically there's something a substitute for everything. And so I think I'm good with peanut butter. I'm still kind of testing it out because my stomach was a little queasy the other day, but it could have been due to other things. So, I'm doing a parasite cleanse right now. So there's a lot of factors going on. Again, I'm still in a trial and error phase with what foods work for me. But one thing that I know and I can hold true is whole foods will make you feel so much better. And it's not even about your physique. It's not about any of that. And it will improve that, but the way you feel is just so significantly better. And I'm like, who doesn't want to feel their best, you know? So that's my number one tip. That's my number one habit that's improved my life, is learning to eat whole food based rather than a bunch of processed, artificial stuff, sweeteners, fillers, additives. It's scary when you look at the food that we consume. And a lot of people, I have heard people talking about this because I've been doing a lot of like research my own. But they were like, our parents grew up on, you know, like Chips Ahoy and chips and mac and cheese, boxed mac and cheese. But it's like, even that is so different than the mac and cheese and the cookies and the snacks that we're eating today. Like, the way they process it and manufacture it is a lot worse now, 20, 30, 40 years later, than it was back in the day too. So if your parents are like, oh, I grew up eating that and I'm fine. Well, it's like, okay, that food isn't the same nowadays. And it's unfortunately getting worse. So honestly, even just like being more cognizant and paying more attention to the labels of the food and the ingredients in there. I mean, there's literally sunflower oil in quite everything. And it's upsetting because it's even in healthier branded foods. Like there's this Ithaca hummus, I think that's how you say it. One of my favorite hummus, and I was looking at the ingredients because I'm like, that's like not considered a whole food hummus, but it's whole food ingredients. And then I was looking at the list, I'm like, there's literally sunflower oil in it, and that's an inflammatory oil. I'm like, why can't we just use coconut oil or olive oil or like tallow, any other like healthy fat? And I'm like, dang it. So it's just really eye-opening. But anyway, now getting on to the rest, and then these are really in no particular order, but some of them definitely are very important. Oh, they all are, if I'm going to be honest. They're all really important. But the next thing is, number 2 is having a workout / like exercise plan to follow. So I've been working out my entire life, essentially. I was an athlete, and then after high school, I didn't continue on playing sports, but I continued going to the gym and being active and being fit because I really found a passion and love for the gym kind of in that transition season of my life. And I've always been very consistent in the gym. I don't think I've went longer than a week without training since, and that's really crazy. So I have a lot of experience being active, being fit, and I've went through lots of highs and lots of lows in my fitness journey. And one thing that has really improved my life now, especially as a 20-some-year-old girl, I'm 23 for reference, but I know a lot of you guys are probably somewhere in your 20s or quickly approaching. But having a plan has been so helpful for me. I feel like this has reignited so much drive and so much excitement and so much motivation in the gym. Having a purpose when you walk in. And for me, because I've always kind of been maintaining, I feel like my strength's pretty strong. I've built muscle. I've just been consistent, and I needed something to push me. And so that's why I started training for half marathon, and that was so much fun, and that gave me so much purpose walking into the gym. It was all about building specific runner muscles and doing different mobility stretches to help me with running, and I always had a purpose walking in, and I had like 3 or 4 runs every week that was structured and planned and progressively getting me to be fit and ready for the race day. And I've been training for half marathons for pretty much about 2 years. I started running in November of 22, and it's October of 24, and I just ran a half marathon 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm not done running them forever, but I'm taking a break because, again, that was a season of my life, and I loved it, and it opened so many opportunities, unlocked so much in me. Running, like, changed my life. But I realized how important it is for me to have something to follow, a plan. And I'm not telling you have to go run a half marathon, but find something to train for. Or like my next step, I haven't registered, so it's not official, but I'm dabbling in High Rocks right now. And Kyla and I really want to do High Rocks Vegas together as like a mixed doubles. And I think it would just be so fun because I'm like, there's so much enjoyment in being able to go compete, go train with your partner. What you could do mixed doubles, or you could do doubles like with a friend. It can be like girl and girl or guy and guy, or you can do an individual, so it can just be you, which sounds intense because it's really hard. But it's just so much fun because I'm like, that gives me purpose in the gym. I've had so much fun training for it. It's still running. I'm still running 3 times a week. I'm still doing a little bit of distance, but the longest, like in High Rocks, you run like a 1K in between each different exercise circuit, and that's like a 0.6 mile. It's over half a mile, so it's still pretty long. Like, it's a still longer run. But it's been so fun to like work speed and kind of take a break from the distance and the easier, slower paces and really push myself and try out some new stuff that I haven't done in a minute. I'm rowing, I'm doing burpee broad jumps, and I'm doing sleds, and I'm doing skiers, and I mean, some of that I haven't even tried yet, but those are going to be things on the horizon, and I'm just so excited because it ignites something in me. It makes me feel like an athlete again. It makes me feel like I have a purpose, and it's so exciting to watch the journey of yourself to progress. And this will really resonate, I think, with you guys if you're not on like a weight loss journey or a muscle building journey, if that isn't your purpose in the gym. Because for me, my goal really isn't weight loss. My goal really isn't to build strength. I'm kind of want to maintain, but at this stage, it's like I want to unlock higher levels of toughness and athleticism, and it's just so much fun. And so I really think that finding something to train for has helped improve my life so much, because fitness is such a huge part of my life, and when I'm happy in the gym and I'm happy with my training, I'm overall happier as a person. And even if you don't want to do like a competition or you don't want to do a race, even having like a coach to kind of take you through like an 8-week training course, having something that gives you purpose and there's like a start and a finish to kind of work towards, because it's just such a fulfilling thing. I feel like humans need that. That accomplishment is just such a amazing feeling. You learn so much along the journeys of training and prep and consistency and the discipline that it takes. You'll learn about yourself. You'll learn about the capabilities you have. You're going to be able to do things you thought you probably couldn't. So I highly, highly, highly encourage checking something out like that. Again, it doesn't have to be something as intense as High Rocks or a half marathon, but there's so many things out there. Definitely give that a try. Number 3, the third habit that has improved my life as a 27-year-old is spending 30 to 60 minutes every single day in the Word. I know not all of you guys are Christians, and I'm not preaching to you, like, I don't try to make this like a Christian-based podcast. I want this to be for everyone. So if you're not faithful, even taking 30 to 60 minutes and locking into whatever your higher power, I feel like everyone either believes like in an energy, a spirit, God. Again, I'm a believer in God, in Jesus Christ, but taking 30 to 60 minutes, I like it first thing in the morning. It's the first thing I do after I drink all my supplements in the morning. I sit down and I literally at that table and I read the Bible for probably 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even 60. Sometimes I get really into the Word. And then I journal, and it's so healthy. It sets the tone. You get so calm. It gives you peace of mind before starting your day, because I think we can get on our phones and we get stressed and we get worried, and it's like all the things going on in our life and our day-to-day is like, I know we're all stressed most of the time. Life's chaotic. And so like having that just like peace and quiet has been so good for me. And two, staying in the Word will draw you closer to God. Most of the questions that I got actually when asking you guys what you wanted this episode to be about was how to start your faith journey and how to get closer to God and grow a relationship with God. And that is one of my biggest pointers for that, is getting in the Word. And I know the Bible can be really intimidating, but you guys, there's so many apps, so many resources. You can like literally Google like, what does this verse mean? I would start in Mark or Matthew or John, somewhere in the New Testament. I like Psalms and Proverbs as well. I went through Proverbs already, and so now I'm reading Psalms, and I read a chapter in Psalms every day, and then I am reading like cover to cover. So right now I'm in 1 Kings, so I read like a chapter in 1 Kings, and then I read a chapter in Psalms, and then I journal, and that's my routine. And it takes like 30 to 60 minutes depending on how long the chapters are, but you guys, it has been so good for me. It has drawn me so much closer to the Lord. It's grown my faith and my relationship with Christ. Like, it's like my favorite part of my day. I really don't miss it. And if I do, I feel off. I really feel off. So incorporating that has helped me so much. It teaches me a lot too, like studying in the Bible. It teaches you. It's good. It's good for your soul. It's good for your heart. It's good wisdom. Like, there's so much you can gain from it. So yeah, that's like a non-negotiable for me for sure. Okay. And then the fourth habit that's improved my life as a 27-year-old girl is walking. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love to walk. Now that it's like cooling off in Arizona too, it's even more enjoyable. I enjoyed it when it was 110, 120 even, but now that it's like dipping into the 90s this week, I'm so excited. There's a day that it's like 70 and I'm like, I haven't seen a 7 on the temperature since I can't even tell you when. But walking, you guys, the sunshine, and I love morning walks and I love like sunset walks. But sometimes I go midday after a workout or something. I kind of go whenever I can squeeze it in, but I try to go like a long walk. I think any walk is good. So if you don't have that much time to, put into your day, to go walk, that's okay. But Oh my gosh, it is so good for me. Like the sunshine, I love walking outside. Sometimes I walk on the treadmill though, and I actually just made a TikTok about this. It's funny. I was having a really hard day a couple weeks ago, and I was going through some stuff, and I wanted to just lay on this couch and just do nothing and just binge watch a movie, like the series on Netflix. I don't want to be like sad and sulk, okay? But I was like, you know what? That's not going to help me any. That's not going to help the situation. So I got my little sad butt up and I went to the gym and I put on the show I was watching or I wanted to watch, and I walked for an hour and I felt so much better. Like I felt so much better after doing that. One, because I could shut my brain off and stop thinking about the things going on in my life, and I could just kind of focus and brain rot, as people say, watching my show. But I was still getting movement in. I wasn't walking super fast. I was walking like 3 on the treadmill, I think. Not even, maybe at an incline, I don't remember, but I walked for an hour and I just like the endorphin release and the movement, and it's just so calming and relaxing. And I think exercise and movement relieve stress. Like you have all this pent up stress and then it just kind of helps to relieve it. So if you are going through something and struggling, I recommend doing that rather than just rotting in bed, because I think that just kind of adds to the stress and the sadness. I never really feel like for me that helps. So maybe try that out for yourself. But again, walking is so good. It's so good for like low intensity, steady state cardio. It's really effective for fat burning. Again, just getting in 10,000 steps a day minimum is really a good recommendation. I highly suggest you guys aiming for that. My dad's been doing that. I'm so proud of him. And he's lost like so much weight from it, just from walking. And again, it's going to vary depending on how much weight you have to lose or not. Everyone's metabolism is different. Everyone's body's different, but it can be very effective for weight loss and fat loss. Walking is so therapeutic as well. Like I have a little routine that I try and do. I don't do it every time, but I always put my AirPods in when I'm like on a walk alone. And the first 15 minutes, I just brain dump. It's literally how I wrote all these ideas for this podcast on my walk this morning. But it just kind of allows me to like process my thoughts, and I have my best thoughts on walks, especially with people too. Best conversations with people are when I'm walking. I don't know if like movement activates something in your brain. Probably, I could see that being a thing. I don't know for sure, so I'm not claiming that, but that's my hypothesis. First 15 minutes of my walk, I have no music on, and I just walk and I jot down notes. I kind of go through my day. It's a little bit of a therapy session with myself. And then the next 15 minutes, it's like a prayer, and no music, and I just talk to God and I pray to God. And it's also a moment of like gratitude, and I just look how beautiful like my home is and how grateful I am to be where I am in my career and everybody in my life. And it's just really powerful to give yourself like a long prayer time window, I guess, in your day, because I know you can pray before meals, you can pray in the morning, you can pray before bed, but like you can never pray enough. And so incorporating that into a walk is really nice. And I just like love praying outside. I don't know, something about nature. It makes me feel closer to the Lord. It's definitely like a comfort thing for me. And then the next 30 minutes or an hour, however long I walk, I listen to a podcast, and it's fun and it's enjoyable. So you can learn a lot too, obviously, listening to podcasts. But again, like the endorphin release is so good for you. And it's also a low impact way to exercise. If you're doing a lot of high intensity stuff, it's good to have some low intensity stuff in as well. Or if you're getting over an injury or you're, new to working out and stuff, it's a great way to start, and it's a great thing to implement because it doesn't add a lot of strain and stress to your body. It's a pretty low impact. It is a low impact exercise. So definitely incorporate that. And two, it can be so much fun and it can be so social. Like me and my friend walk twice a week together, and it's just like a catch up, like a yapping session, and we chat for literally an hour and a half. We'd walk forever. We walk like 3 or 4 miles every time. Kyler and I go on so many walks. Jake and I used to walk together all the time. I love walking. My parents are coming to town, and I'm just thinking about how excited I am to like go on my walking route with them and just chat and hang out and get some exercise and get in the sunshine. But yeah, walking is so huge. And then the fifth habit that has improved my life as a 27-year-old girl is learning to communicate. And this might seem basic. You might be like, what? Like, I know how to communicate. But what I've learned is how poor maybe my communication skills were. I thought that they were fine until I was put into certain situations, and it really made me self-reflect and understand the importance of proper communication. Communication can go so far because it's kind of like the first impression people have of you when you meet somebody new is through typically verbal communication, but even communication with body language is huge, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more just like verbal communication, but being able to effectively communicate what you're thinking and feeling can be hard. it's definitely hard and something I work on every single day because it's scary being vulnerable. It's scary being open. It's scary talking about how you feel, especially when you don't want to like hurt someone's feelings. But what I've learned in all my friendships, all my relationships, literally everything, is being honest and being able to effectively communicate your thoughts is the healthiest thing you can do. I have gotten through the hardest conversations, and because I was effectively communicating and able to like slow down and process and not let my emotions and feelings get in the way, these situations always improve and they're always resolved because we communicated. The only problems that aren't resolved are the ones that I kind of let build up in me and I don't talk about. That's kind of why I love this podcast, because it's kind of like a therapy yapping session for me, but also too, like being in a new relationship with Kyler, he's very emotionally mature and he's very, very good at communicating. And I think it's because I've never met somebody that high in like that highly skilled in communicating. It made me realize how like he really set the bar, and I was like, okay, I have a lot of work to do to like reach where he's at. And he never he never shamed me for it. He never called me out on it, but it just was brought to my awareness after like observing it and seeing how good he is at communicating his emotions and his feelings and everything. But yeah, I just really recommend learning how to properly communicate and being like an active listener and listening and not just communicating and not just talking in a conversation. But it can do so much for you, like even in friendships or business conversations or any interaction you have with anyone. It's so important to know how to effectively communicate with that person, because too, you kind of communicate with different people in different ways as well. So it's easier to communicate with people you know because you know them better. But again, it's something so simple, and I feel like it's not something we maybe think about all the time, but that has improved my life so much because it's improved my relationship so much, and it's made my thoughts and my mind at just so much more peace. And one thing I do too before having really hard conversations, this is just like a side piece, but I really pray, because again, I'm very faithful. I pray and I ask God to kind of remove my emotions and my feelings from the conversation and let me speak out of wisdom. And I kind of ask him to speak through me, because sometimes when I'm talking, I'm like, where did that even come from? And I'm like, no, that was the Holy Spirit speaking through me, because I don't know where that came from. And sometimes I say things I really needed to say and I didn't even realize I needed to say, if that makes sense. Like I'll be having a hard conversation and I'll bring up a point that's not even one that I thought about before, and I'm like, whoa. And then it kind of puts all the pieces together. So I definitely pray before hard conversations. Why can I not speak? Me talking about the power of communication, and I'm over here stumbling on my words. But those are the first 5. I think those were like the 5 most important, but not really, because these next ones are really important too. But those were the first 5 that I did think of, and I think really have probably made the biggest impact. And these next 10 are very important as well, though. So number 6, the 6th habit that has helped improve my life as a 27-year-old girl is getting involved in a group of any sort, especially if you are new to a city. But I know a lot of us in our early 20s, we're fresh out of college or we're about to be, or maybe you moved away. Like a lot changes in your early 20s, a lot of different variables. And it's kind of the first time we're not going to school. We're not hanging out with our friends every single day. We're not going to sports practice with our friends and our buddies, whoever. It's a lot more isolation and a lot more alone time, I think. You may have coworkers, but you may be like me and you don't have coworkers. And so I have realized the importance of getting involved. And I think in college this is huge too, especially if you're going to a new school and you don't know many people. Get involved. And everyone, it's so funny because my parents always said it, everyone always recommends it, the school really recommends it and pushes it to get into like extracurricular activities and get involved in different clubs, but that was never me. And you know what, I really didn't enjoy my college experience, and I think that might be why, because I didn't have much involvement in the school. It was really just school for me, and then I got in and out, so there wasn't a lot of other enjoyment put into school, because it's not that fun to go to class and study. So that's all I have really to remember it by. But whether you're in college or you're, fresh out of school, post-grad, or living in a new city, it's so helpful to get involved in clubs and groups. And these can vary. Like this can vary between a run club. I think run clubs are great to meet people. A lot of people meet their significant others at run clubs. It's just a fun area because you can kind of bounce around and meet new people every single week. The Scottsdale Run Club that I go to sometimes, they have all the new people introduce themselves and kind of give a brief introduction. So you're literally introducing yourself to hundreds of people. And it's a great thing just every single week to like get out and get social. I really like it, but other things that you guys can try and do that I recommend would be like a Bible study group. If you can get involved in a Bible study, I think every church, if you go to their website, there's a page where it says like, ours has like city groups, or it has like Bible studies and different things you can get involved in. I highly recommend that. I highly recommend getting involved in a Bible study, especially if you're a Christian girl looking for more Christian friends. You have to put yourself in those situations, in those environments, because that's where you meet those people. And then again too, like, even for me, I have like my young adults night at my church. Most churches have that. Get involved in that. Even start serving in that. That's how you can really plug into a church, is serving, because you get to know people, and you get to work with them, and it's a good way to serve the Lord as well and your church and give back. Or if that's not your thing, a book club, or I know there's like cookbook clubs, which is honestly right up my alley. You go and like you like make something out of a cookbook together or something. I don't know, I've never done it, but that would be so much fun. There's so many different things you can get involved in. I think there's like Facebook group pages that you can like find these things on too. Walking clubs, there's a lot of walking if you're not into running. Just get involved with some sort of club, some sort of group, and try to go once a week. I always go to my young adults night once a week, and then when I can, I try to go to run club now with my friends. And yeah, I serve at my church, and that's another bit of community, but it's like I have to place myself in those environments with those people, because I don't get a lot of interaction with people. Like, I go to the gym, but I don't like work out with anyone. I work out on my own, and then I come home and I work alone, and it's just really important and really healthy for me. And I think it is for anyone. It's a great way to meet people, great way to interact, create new memories and experiences. So get involved. Okay, the 7th habit that I have to improve your life as a 27-year-old girl. This is kind of girls and guys though too, but I feel like most of my listeners are girls. Okay, this kind of branches off the last one, but it's do some sort of service for others. Serve in some way once a month minimum. So I just started doing this, and it has given me so much in return, and it is insane. Emma and I started a city group, so it's like an outreach, and we go to this like small church down in Phoenix, and we help prepare and we serve the meals to the homeless and the needy. And it's also a church too, and it is the most humbling thing, but it's so good for the soul and the mind, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in your day-to-day. You don't humble yourselves enough. We don't realize, like, we can be grateful, we can understand what we have, but when you really immerse yourself in that environment, it will rock you. It will shake you to your core. I was at my last city group, and you guys, I had like tears streaming down my face. So let me like set the scene. So I'm there with some of my friends. Emma and I are serving with some of our girls who joined our city group. And this church, you guys, it is the sweetest thing. They, again, every Monday and Friday night, they serve a big dinner for the homeless and the needy. It's in a church. And because it's in a church, they will play Christian music, or in the mornings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they serve breakfast. Emma and I went and served at a breakfast one time. They play a little Christian movie, worship music. So special. And it's really cool to kind of plant that seed for people. But also, you guys, this moment. So we have like the whole, it's kind of like a cafeteria style assembly, like how they do it in schools, you know, they like release by tables, and then you can go up and get your food, whatever. And after everyone's sitting down with their food and their meals, the women, they're probably in their 70s, and they are just the sweetest. They used to go and be served. They used to be people who received something from this church, and now that they are giving back, and I think it's so beautiful, it's so full circle for them. But they are the most godly people. They're the most, oh my gosh, like I was crying, you guys. This woman, oh, bless her heart, she's the sweetest thing. Me and Emma just absolutely adore her. She went up, there's 3 women, they're all in like their 60s, maybe their 70s, and they have like a karaoke of worship songs, and they're up there singing and praising, and I have never seen people in my life sing the way that they did. And it was just to a bunch of random people who came in to get food. And just when you watch someone like sing a song, and you can just tell like in their bones, in their soul, in their heart, that there's something they're singing about, like it shakes you, because they are so grateful, and they just love God so much, and they just trust his plan, and they give everything to him when they really have nothing at all. And I'm like, wow, like wow. They've like changed my life. Just observing that alone changed my life. And I'm like, that would have never happened if I didn't put myself in a position to give back and serve others. And I did that not even thinking I would take that much from it. But it's like, you you will receive. It might not be monetary, it might not be physical, but you will feel something. Like the Holy Spirit will work in you if it's something within your church, or if it's just handing out. Like another thing we did, we went to Costco and bought a bunch of snacks, and we just bought little like brown paper sacks, and we made little like snack bags, little lunches and stuff, put them in our car. And so when we're driving around, like there's a lot of homeless in Phoenix on the corners asking for help. And we put a little like Bible verse and wrote a card and put it in the bag. And so then it's in my car, and when I see one, I'm able to like help them and serve them and give them a snack. So it's like even something small like that. You don't have to find an outreach and volunteer. But if you're not Christian, you can even do like going to an animal shelter and volunteering to help with the dogs or foster a dog. Like any way that you can give back to the community, to the people in your community, like it is so important, because we need more people like that. And again, too, like it has changed my life so much. Like I can't wait to do more of it. I'm getting more involved and doing more ways to serve. Like I serve in my church now. I do like donuts and stuff like that on Sundays. And it's drawn me closer to the church. I've only done it once, but it was really, really cool, because one, you get to meet a lot more people that come into the church rather than just going and receiving the word. Like you can kind of help give back. But again, like lots of people come up getting donuts, and it's putting faces to names and meeting people and working with the others who serve as well and building relationships with them. It can be very fulfilling, and it's great. Like I love it. So I highly recommend that. That has improved my life so much in ways that I wasn't even expecting. So number 8, the 8th habit that has helped to improve my life as a 20-some-year-old girl is lowering my caffeine intake. I'm really proud of myself for this. I'm not going to lie, because I used to average 300, 400 milligrams a day easily. I mean, guys, like in a Alani knew, as I'm yawning, fitting, I'm not even tired. I think it's just when I talk a lot, I like lose oxygen, and my body, I think, naturally wants to like yawn or something. I don't know, because like it happens every time I podcast, and otherwise I don't really yawn. But lowering my caffeine intake has been so good. It has improved my sleep. It has substantially lowered my anxiety and my stress. And too, another thing that I've noticed is it's lowered I think I was reliant on caffeine to give me energy, when that's food's job. Food is fuel. Food is what's going to give you energy. Honestly, caffeine for me just helps me stay a little regular. A little coffee in the morning, I'm ready to go. But I didn't cut it cold turkey. I didn't cut it out completely. That it would be a goal of mine, but I love a latte. I love a latte. But I make my latte at home, so I know exactly what's going into it. Sure, I still go out and get a latte every now and then, but I maybe drink like 100 milligrams a day now, which is fractions of what I was. But I was drinking like an Alani and a coffee. Like it was a proud day if I didn't have 2 servings of caffeine before, and it was always like a minimum of 200. So just lowering that has helped my anxiety, helped my stress, keeps me calmer. And then it also too, I don't know, I'm just like proud of it. It's like, okay, I'm not dependent. It's kind of like an addiction. It really is. And knowing that I'm no longer dependent on caffeine to like get me through the day is really reassuring. Like I don't have to have it first thing in the morning. I typically do, because I force myself to drink my electrolyte, glutamine, and creatine mix first, and then I let myself drink my coffee. But it's just kind of like what I like to do as I read my Bible. It's just like a cozy start to my morning. But definitely recommend lowering your caffeine intake if you can. They recommend like women not to have more than 150 milligrams a day. So maybe keep that in mind and try to stay under that if you can. And then the 9th thing that has helped improve my life is tapping into my more feminine side. I made a whole podcast on this, so definitely go listen to that if this one resonates with you and something that you want to start doing yourself. But big time this year, I realized like how much of my masculine I was living, and how I didn't like that. I didn't necessarily want to be like that. I want to be on my soft feminine side, and now that I'm more in that, my life is just so much more peaceful and like at ease, and I feel like my stress is a lot lower. And I just love it. Like, I don't know. It's just a better way of living, if I'm being honest. I feel like it's like the way I was made to live, obviously, because I'm a female. But I don't know. I just think like one thing that's important too is, because again, like I still have a masculine side. It still comes out in certain situations and stuff. But I do think that it really plays a role with who you're who you're with. I think some people can draw a more feminine side out of you and some people can draw a more masculine side. So I guess just kind of pay attention to that in situations when you feel like you're in your masculine, and maybe just have a conversation. It's not like you have to cut that person out, but be like, hey, like, I don't know how that conversation needs to go. It's going to vary on everyone, or with everyone, but yeah, that's definitely been something that's been very helpful and improved my life for sure. Just not having to feel like I need to be like tough and strong and can't, like have to lead everything. Like, it's okay to like step back a little bit and let someone else lead, and to be more emotional and to be softer and to, yeah, I don't know. It's just really refreshing. Okay, I like this one. Number 10, the 10th habit that has helped improve my life is understanding just because you can doesn't mean that you should. So this isn't necessarily a habit, but it's a mindset. And this has been big for me also this year. And it's just about how we need to learn to eliminate like overindulging and overspending and any form of overconsumption, because I think when you have the ability, if you have the money, if you have the opportunities, if you have the access, you can really overuse things and overconsume and overindulge, and too much of a good thing is not good. And I think I did this with a lot of stuff, and I realized like I don't need that much of anything. And really just the way I kind of handle this situation now is I just give myself more time to think. It's like, okay, I do maybe have the extra money in my budget this month to purchase this outfit, but do I really need it? Is it really that cute? Like, is it something that I can repurpose and rewear and restyle? Or is it kind of a one-time wear? That's just one example of shopping. Or if it's like when you're eating and you have access to all this stuff, or at the grocery store, sure, you can buy 10 packs of Oreos, but like, do you really need 10 different flavors? No. That's a really dumb example, but like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to overconsume, overindulge. I think there's just like, we have mass consumption, especially too with like being in the career I am. I get a lot of PR, and it's like, they don't just send you one flavor, they send you every flavor, and it's so insane. And I think that opened my eyes to being like, it's almost like overwhelming. And so it's cool to be able to like give back, go donate it, go do something like that if you have too much, or just go through your clothes more often and just kind of like refresh, and simplify your life a little bit. It just gives you more like peace, if that makes sense. So just something to think about. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And same with like opportunities too. When you get invited to something, or there's like a concert going on or whatever, just because you can go doesn't mean that you should go. Like, really think about if that's something that aligns with your values, your morals, your time commitments, your goals, like whatever you have going on in your life. Like, is that something that's going to help that? Or is that something that might add more stress to your life in the future? Okay, and then number 11, the 11th habit that has helped improve my life is doing more that scares me. And this kind of resonates back to my podcast episode talking about like, you are your own biggest limitation. I think we get so scared to do things that scare us that we don't do it, and then we just kind of live mediocre and we don't really tap into our highest potential. And I think too, every time that you do something that scares you, it unlocks another level, another layer. I view everything as like levels, and I think it like, you get up to a higher level and you realize what you truly are capable of, and then it gives you more inspiration and more confidence doing things that scare you in the future. So it's kind of like a domino effect. Again, like the half marathon, completing that has kind of made me realize, okay, maybe I can try high rocks. And that high rocks is freaking hard, you guys. The training that I've even done right now is really hard. So I know it's going to be a challenge, and it does scare me because it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful, but I know the feeling after will be so fulfilling and so accomplishing, and just crossing that finish line will be such a good feeling. It's going to encourage me to probably go do something next. And I just think that keeps life fun. It continues to build your confidence. You become a better version of yourself. And it's the easy thing to do is run away from what scares you, but I think you really should run into what scares you. Number 12, I love this one. The 12th habit that has helped improve my life is responding like Jesus would. So when I'm in a situation and I get like an instant reaction and I want to respond right away, whether that's good or bad, or I get asked a question and I have to, respond to it, or I'm given an opportunity and I have to either decline it or accept it. I'm like, how would Jesus respond to this? How would Jesus react? And I try to live more like him. I want to resemble him as much as I can. So even when maybe you're in a situation where you're not feeling love, still give love, still give love, still give peace, still be joyful, help others, serve others, be a servant, be a disciple, humble yourself, bring yourself down. Like Jesus Christ was the King of Kings, and he was a servant. Like he was serving others. It's like you're never too good to do anything. So I think having that mindset in every decision that you make is really helpful, because it's so easy to act out of your flesh and act out of feelings and emotions. But it's like when you step back, I try to give myself 90 seconds. That's something I heard in a Jay Shetty podcast, and I'm like, all right, noting. But he says, give yourself 90 seconds to respond and react, because that gives you time to lower your heart rate if it's something that's stressing you out or angering you. And a second to just let your thoughts process. I like doing that. I have to take time between decisions, because time allows you to pray about something, to reflect on something, to just simmer down and, again, kind of eliminate the emotional side of things. But that's kind of my little life mantra. And then number 13, the 13th habit that has helped improve my life. And this might seem interesting. Some of you may disagree or contradict, but I think staying busier has improved my life. Maybe this is because, again, I work from home, I'm alone, I create my own schedule, but the busier I am, the more fulfilled I am. I love getting things done. Maybe this is just my personality, but I love being busy. I love doing lots of things. I love gaining a lot of experience. My friend Katie Johnson, she's an inspiration to me. She's that teacher. I had her on my podcast. She's a teacher, but she's also a Bible study leader. She's traveling all the time with her long distance boyfriend. She works out in the morning. She's always doing something. I'm like, but she's the most joyful human, and you can tell how happy she is because she's involved in things that she loves. But it's the busier you are, the more you're doing what you love, the happier you're going to be, the more joyful you're going to be. And so I'm like, okay. And I just try to busy up my days, and it's fun. I feel like it makes me more productive. I feel more efficient. I get so much more done. I feel more accomplished. It boosts my confidence. It's a better way to live for me. Maybe not everyone. Maybe you guys live a slower life and less busy, and maybe that's just a seasonal, some seasons you want to live busy, some you don't. I don't know, but I prefer being busy. I just like it. It makes the days fuller and more enjoyable. And whether it's even just getting out of the house more and saying yes to things. I could sit at home and work from my apartment, or I could get out of the house and go to a coffee shop and interact with people and be in society, you know what I'm saying? And just putting myself in more settings and situations, or even creating groups and creating a Bible study, or creating a city group at your church, or starting a walking group, I don't know, a book club. Starting something of your own too can be a way to stay busier, or having one night a week to devote to it. Or Emma and I, every Tuesday we watch Dancing with the Stars together. It's something I can look forward to and have on lock, and I just love that. It's definitely helped improve my life a lot, and it just, again, it allows you to create more experiences and more memories. And I think that's what's so rich about life, is we can create however many memories we want, so why not make more? Moving on. So habit number 14 that has helped improve my life as a 20-something-year-old girl is going sober. I haven't drank, I can't even tell you the last time. I don't know. And honestly, I talked about this. I had a whole episode on it. My brother struggled with addiction. It's definitely in my family. And I'm just never proud of anything I do when I'm drunk or not sober-minded. It's just been the best thing. It has been the best thing ever. I feel so much darkness when I see stuff like that, or I'm in a situation, I feel, where was I? Oh, it was even funny. It was funny. Emma and I were at this event, and there was a little open mini bar, and I think Emma and I, not that I judge people who drink, but it was just eye-opening, because totally a year or two ago I would have gotten a drink, because this was a big social setting and I was really anxious. I would have gotten a drink to ease my stress and my anxiety, and it was free. Why not? It was this fancy bar cart with these fancy cocktails. But like Emma, she's not even 21, but we stood back and we are like, I think we're the only two in here without a drink. And I'm like, that's really crazy just how normalized it is to like have a drink. And again, I'm not shaming anyone who does choose to drink. I think everything in moderation is okay. But for me, like going sober has been so healthy because it's taught me that I don't have to be reliant on alcohol to like have a good time and to be social, because I use that as like a cover up, a band-aid, an aid to help me become social. So it's helped me become out of my shell so much more, become more confident. Too, I feel so much better. Like it's literally poison in your body. And again, like you can just think clear-minded and act clear-minded, and there's nothing that you will like regret. And it's technically a sin in the Bible to be drunken, not to have a drink, but like to be drunk. But going sober like completely from like everything too. Like I never really did anything else, but cutting that out has been so good. And it can be hard, especially if you're in college or you're in your early 20s and all your friends go out and party and stuff on the weekends and you're getting FOMO. But like, if that's not where your morals and values align, don't waver that just to have FOMO. Because 95% of the time, I feel like you're going to be there and you're going to wish you weren't. You know, like I feel like every time I went out, I was like, dang, I can't wait to be in my bed sleeping. Like I don't want to be here, just kind of counting down the hours. And just find more friends who are sober. Like all my friends here are, and it makes it so much easier. It's not even like a question. Like to drink, it's just not even, it's so not normal to do that would shock me if like I got like no one invites me to that anymore, so I don't even have to turn it down because like the people in my life just don't. But I understand that's not easy for everyone and that's not the situation for everyone, but it is good finding a friend or two that also aligns. And then 15, the last habit that has helped to improve my life as a 20-something-year-old girl, is creating an action plan for when things go wrong or when I'm stressed. So I think a lot of times my anxiety would like get the best of me, or I'm very like futuristic thinker. So I always think ahead. I always try to like play things out in my head. Or if something's going wrong and I'm like, oh my gosh, panic, like what's going to happen next? Action plan. Or if I'm not happy with anything going on, I make an action plan to solve it. And it's like, okay, if there's momentum, if I'm pushing the needle forward just a little bit towards that goal, to fixing that problem, I feel like my anxiety goes away. Because it's like, okay, I'm doing the best I can do. I'm doing all that I can do to solve it. I think most anxiety like is created when you're in a standstill, when nothing's happening, when you know you should be working on this, when you should be getting something done, when you should be moving forward in that, working towards your goals, trying to resolve a problem. Like that's where anxiety lies, is when you're not taking action. So it's like the second I feel any sense of stress about something, I just create an action plan and I start working on it like that moment, and I start taking steps to get to where I really want to be to kind of resolve that. That has improved my life so much. But yeah, I'm going to run through the list again really quick just so you guys can get a little refresh. Again, I highly recommend all 15 of these things. They have helped me so much in my life. It made me a completely different person, if I'm being honest. And I think that they can really help improve your life as well. Whether or not you're a 20-something-year-old girl, I think that there's something in here for everyone. Number 1 is eating whole foods, eating a whole food-based diet. Number 2 is having a purpose in your fitness journey, whether that's a race, a competition, have some sort of goal to work towards. Number 3 is spending 30 to 60 minutes every day in the Word. Number 4 is walking. Walk more, walk in the sunshine, go on your hot girl walk. And number 5 is learning to communicate properly. Number 6 is getting involved in a group or a club of any sort. Number 7 is giving back in some sort of service to others. Number 8 is lowering your caffeine intake. Number 9 is tapping into your feminine side. Number 10 is just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Number 11 is do more things that scare you. Number 12 is respond like Jesus would mindset. Number 13 is stay busy. Number 14, go sober. And number 15, create an action plan. So those are all the habits and the mindsets that have helped improve my life as a 20-something-year-old girl. Again, I hope that you guys gained something and learned something from this and enjoyed this episode. I thank you so much for listening or watching, whatever you're doing, and I love you so much. We will chat in the next episode. Bye, guys.